If you're over 60 and your erections feel weaker at night or they fade right when you finally want them, you may have quietly told yourself, this is just what aging looks like. Now, I hear that every week, but here's what most men don't realize. What's failing you may not be your body at all, but when certain signals are happening. I'm a board-certified urologist, and for more than 20 years, I've worked with men who carry this frustration silently thinking nothing can be done. And almost every time I see the same small bedtime mistake repeating itself. Tell me where you're watching from. And if this conversation matters to you, feel free to subscribe. But here's what most people don't realize. Erections don't actually start in the penis. They start much earlier, much deeper in the quiet hormone signals your body sends while you sleep. And one of the most overlooked drivers of that nighttime signaling is something I check almost reflexively in men over 60. Vitamin D3. I want to say the name clearly because it matters. Vitamin D3, not as a general health vitamin, but as a hormone-like signal that helps your body decide when and how strongly testosterone should rise during the night. Vitamin D3 helps regulate testosterone signals that peak during sleep. That single sentence explains more than most men have ever been told. Testosterone isn't mainly made during the day. It doesn't surge when you're awake and active. The majority of it is produced at night during deeper stages of sleep when your body finally feels safe enough to repair, rebuild, and restore. And inside the testes, there are specific receptors that respond to vitamin D3. When those receptors don't get enough stimulation, the message sent upward is weak. The signal is there, but it's faint. And a faint signal produces a faint response. This is why I often see men whose lab work looks normal, yet they still feel off. Their testosterone number may fall within range, but the rhythm is broken. The timing is off. Low vitamin D3 doesn't always crash testosterone levels on paper, but it disrupts how clearly the signal is sent at night. Think of it like static on a radio. The station is still broadcasting, but the message doesn't come through cleanly. Poor sleep adds even more interference. When sleep is shallow or fragmented, the testosterone rhythm never fully rises. And without that rise, the body doesn't prepare properly for nighttime or morning erections. After 60, this becomes more common for a simple reason. Absorption changes. The skin makes less vitamin D from sunlight. The gut absorbs it less efficiently. And many men spend far less time outdoors than they did decades ago. So even men who eat well and feel otherwise healthy slowly drift into deficiency without realizing it. The result isn't dramatic failure, it's subtle decline. Erections still happen, but they're less predictable. Firmness fades faster. Morning erections become rare. And many men describe it the same way to me, almost word for word. Everything works, just not like it used to. I see this daily in men who believe hormone signals during sleep. Their testosterone is fine on paper. They're told nothing is wrong. They're reassured that this is normal aging. But aging doesn't turn off systems overnight. It weakens signals first. And vitamin D3 is one of those signals that quietly determines how confidently your body enters its restorative state each night. When that signal is low, the body never fully commits to repair mode. Blood flow, hormone release, and nerve responsiveness all stay slightly muted. What makes this especially frustrating is that most men never associate vitamin D3 with sexual health. They think of it as a bone vitamin or something mentioned briefly during winter months. But in men over 60, it plays a much deeper role in hormone communication. It tells your body, it's night, it's safe, you can restore now. Without that message, the system hesitates, and hesitation shows up where men notice it most. Now, none of this means vitamin D3 is a magic switch. It doesn't force erections, it doesn't override sleep deprivation or stress or poor circulation, but it sets the stage. It makes sure the signal is strong enough for the rest of the system to respond. And here's the part most men never hear in the exam room. Vitamin D3 only helps if you avoid the mistake most men make right before bed. But here's the mistake most seniors make. They assume erections are about effort, about trying harder, about wanting it more. In reality, erections depend on relaxation, not force. And the mineral that quietly determines whether your body can truly relax at night is magnesium glycinate. I want to say that clearly because not all magnesium works the same way. Magnesium glycinate. This form matters because it speaks directly to the nervous system, especially during sleep when blood flow decisions are being made without your conscious control. Magnesium helps relax nerves, muscles, and blood vessels during sleep. That sounds simple, but the effect is profound. Erections rely on nitric oxide, a molecule that tells blood vessels to widen and allow flow. Magnesium supports that nitric oxide signaling. Without enough magnesium, blood vessels stay slightly tense, slightly narrowed. Blood can still move, but not freely. And when blood doesn't move freely, erections feel weaker, shorter, or unreliable, especially at night. One of magnesium's most important roles is calming the nervous system. As men age, the nervous system becomes more easily overstimulated. Worries linger, muscles stay tight, the body remains on alert even when you lie down. That low-level tension raises nighttime cortisol, the stress hormone, that quietly blocks testosterone signaling and constricts blood vessels. Magnesium helps lower cortisol during sleep. It tells the body, you're safe now. And safety is what allows circulation to shift toward restoration and sexual response. This is why sleep quality matters so much more than men realize. Deep sleep is when the body coordinates hormone release, nerve repair, and blood flow. Magnesium supports deeper sleep cycles, especially the slow-wave sleep that men lose as they get older. When sleep stays light, erections suffer. Not because desire is gone, but because the body never fully relaxes enough to allow full circulation. Desire without relaxation feels like wanting to move while holding the brakes. After 55, magnesium deficiency becomes extremely common. Part of this is dietary. Modern diets provide less magnesium than they used to. Part of it is absorption. Aging digestive systems don't pull minerals from food as efficiently, and part of it is stress. Chronic stress burns through magnesium faster than the body can replace it. The result is a quiet deficiency that shows up not as pain, but as tension, tight calves, restless blood flow, and relaxation sleep, jaw clenching, and yes, weaker nocturnal erections. Older men often don't recognize how much tension they're carrying. I hear it when patients say they're tired but wired at night, or when they wake up feeling like they never fully rested. Light sleep leads to poor nocturnal erections because the body never reaches the state where blood flow can fully shift. Erections are not emergencies the body prioritizes under stress. They happen when the nervous system feels calm, regulated, and secure. This is why I tell my patients, erections don't happen in a stressed body. You can have normal testosterone, you can have desire, you can even have decent circulation during the day. But if your nervous system stays tense at night, erections will remain. Inconsistent. Magnesium glycinate doesn't force anything. It removes resistance, it lowers the internal noise so the signal can pass through. What's frustrating is that many men focus only on hormones and ignore the environment those hormones operate in. Magnesium creates the internal environment where blood vessels can open, nerves can communicate clearly, and sleep can deepen. Without it, the system stays guarded, and guarded systems don't prioritize sexual response. Still, magnesium alone doesn't complete the picture. You can improve sleep, you can relax blood vessels, you can calm the nervous system, and yet many men still feel like something is missing, like the body isn't fully responding to the signal. Because even with better sleep and better blood flow, there's one missing signal most men never address. But here's what most people don't realize. Desire and response are not the same thing. You can feel mentally interested, emotionally connected, even physically ready, and still notice that your body hesitates. That gap between wanting and responding is where many men over 60 feel confused and discouraged. And one of the most overlooked reasons for that disconnect is a mineral most men haven't thought about in years: zinc. I want to name it clearly because it plays a very specific role. Zinc not as a general immune booster, but as a signal translator inside the male body. Zinc helps convert testosterone into a usable signal for erection response. That distinction matters. Testosterone alone doesn't create an erection. It needs to bind to receptors in tissues throughout the body, including nerves, blood vessels, and the prostate. Zinc supports the sensitivity of those androgen receptors. When zinc levels are adequate, the message testosterone sends is received clearly. When zinc is low, the message arrives late, weak, or distorted. This is why I often see men whose hormone tests look perfectly fine, yet they describe feeling disconnected from their own response. They'll tell me they still feel desire, they still feel attraction, but their body doesn't seem to follow along. That's not a loss of masculinity. That's a communication problem. And zinc sits right at the center of that communication. Zinc also influences prostate signaling, which plays a larger role in erection response than most men realize. The prostate isn't just a passive gland. It participates in nerve signaling and fluid balance during arousal. As zinc levels decline, prostate signaling becomes less efficient. That inefficiency doesn't cause pain or obvious symptoms at first. It shows up subtly as slower arousal or reduced firmness under pressure. After 60, zinc levels naturally decline. Part of this is dietary. Many men eat less red meat and seafood, which are major zinc sources. Part of it is absorption. Aging digestive systems don't extract zinc as effectively, and part of it is long-term depletion. Stress, inflammation, and even certain medications slowly drain zinc stores over time. The body. The missing response signal prioritizes survival functions first. Sexual response falls lower on the list. When zinc is low, the response becomes delayed. Erections feel distant, like they're happening one step removed from intention. Firmness may appear briefly, then fade when pressure or distraction enters the picture. This isn't about willpower, it's about signal strength. The body is receiving the message, but it's not confident enough to fully act on it. This is the moment in the conversation where many men pause and say something that sticks with me. They'll say, "I feel desire, but my body doesn't respond." And that sentence tells me exactly where the issue is. Desire lives in the brain, response lives in the tissue. Zinc helps bridge that gap. It doesn't create desire, it allows the body to recognize and act on it. What makes zinc especially tricky is that its deficiency doesn't feel dramatic. There's no sharp pain, no obvious warning sign. It's a gradual dulling of response, a slight delay that grows over time. And because testosterone levels may still appear normal, men are often told everything is fine. They're reassured, they're sent home. Meanwhile, the signal pathway continues to weaken. Zinc doesn't work in isolation. It doesn't override poor sleep or high stress. But when zinc is adequate, the body becomes more responsive to the signals it's already receiving. The nervous system reacts faster. Blood flow coordination improves. The response feels more immediate and reliable. Not forced, not artificial, just more in sync. What most men are never told is how these pieces fit together. They focus on one factor at a time, hormones, sleep, circulation, without understanding how the body layers signals. Zinc is one of those layers. It determines whether the body trusts the signal enough to act on it. And here's where the conversation becomes more interesting, because looking at zinc alone still misses something important. Most doctors never explain how these factors interact at night or why timing matters just as much as the nutrient itself. Now here's what most doctors never explain about using these together, but here's what most men slowly come to realize once the noise clears. Real change doesn't happen during the day, it happens at night. Not because your body is weaker, but because nighttime is when your body listens most closely to its internal signals. Earlier, we talked about timing, about how aging doesn't break systems overnight, but instead weakens communication. This is where that idea comes full circle. This isn't about chasing youth or trying to become who you were at 30. It's about restoring communication inside a body that still knows exactly what to do. I tell my patients this often. Your body hasn't failed you. It's just been working with incomplete information. When signals are mistimed, muted, or drowned out by stress, the response fades, not permanently, just temporarily. What I want you to take from this is a sense of calm control. There's clarity in understanding that erections, energy, and response are not random events. They're coordinated processes. When the body receives the right signals at the right time, it responds naturally. Aging doesn't erase that ability. It only changes the conditions under which it works best. I've seen men shift from confusion to clarity simply by understanding what their body has been missing, from frustration to confidence by realizing the issue was never a lack of desire or masculinity. It was timing, it was communication. And once that communication begins to restore itself, hope doesn't feel forced. It feels logical, quiet, earned. If this conversation resonated with you, I want you to know you're not alone. Many men quietly carry these questions without ever hearing clear, respectful answers. This channel exists for men who value understanding over fear and calm clarity over panic. If you'd like to keep learning with me as a shared journey, not a lecture, you're welcome to subscribe. We'll keep these conversations grounded, honest, and practical. And in the next video, I'll walk you through one common nighttime habit that silently cancels everything we've discussed.